we knew we wanted to be in the mountains, and this just was always the place. And the animals were here, everything was intact from 200 years ago. So it was one of those places that it's just hard to find that have those qualities.
To have grizzly bears as your neighbors is a dream that I just still pinch myself to accept the reality of that, but that was really a goal that we had. We wanted to be very much involved in wildlife and land stewardship, and be active in the process of looking after the natural splendor here. So it has a rich spiritual quality, being in the wilderness. That was important. We spend a lot of time outside hoofing it on the landscape. Really like being in paradise for us.
We arrived here 37 years ago. I had conducted a search for the perfect place and just fell in love with the valley and decided this was the place.
How we tell the story of coming to Swan is, for years we took our girls to Yellowstone every summer. We just found every summer we'd say, well, let's go home this way, and we come down 83 and come to the Swan. And after a few years, it occurred to us we should just look for property here. It was always the place we were drawn back to. And
the bonus was the rich sense of community, which we really didn't, we had little inklings of, but you drive through Condon and you don't know where it begins, you don't know where it ends, you don't know where the center is, but it is a rich sense of community. It's not a place, it's a community.
It's a state of mind,
yeah.
We like to say.
We bought this land, and you always bring an idea with you or a background with you, so we cleared some trees to make a living, and then cleared the land to put in some hay and some grass because we wanted a few cows and a few horses.
And we're at my father's place, which is Budmore. He's a retired Forest Service guy who's an old-time ranger, and when he retired he was in charge of fire control for Region 1. He came from a long line of, he started, you might say, as a long line trapper back in the 30s and early 40s, and working for the Forest Service, so very much into harvesting and that kind of stuff. Kind of an old-time mountain man that was born maybe 50 years too late, but actually it was just right. And then he started this coyote forest. His focus was to try and manage the forest sustainably, and with the idea of ecosystem management, in other words, that all parts of the ecosystem could benefit by a healthy forest.
Managing the land, we're just very cognizant of the fact of, the role that fire has in forest ecosystems. That influences a tremendous amount of the decisions that we make on what we're going to do with, the forest that we live in the middle of.
well, we both love the work. So part of deciding to be here, we knew we were going to have to grapple this issue, the fire risk, but we also love going out and
Working in the woods.
cutting down trees, and we're burning our own piles. And
here we have some really unique things with the terrific white-tailed deer population, and elk, and grizzly bears, which are kind of neat. You can bump into one of them about anywhere, and now wolves. So we have and the Swan is a very rich ecosystem for that. So it's a great place and sadly, we got bugs. If you let them go, then pretty soon all your lodgepoles got bugs, and it's kind of a tough decision.
Everything we've done has started off with walking the land with people who know a lot about whatever it is we've got in mind. And out of that process, you're going to hear solutions, you're going to hear observations made, at least that never would have occurred to me, which make a lot of sense to me, and the finished product makes a lot of sense to me.
We were back east in a much more of an urban environment. There was, I think, less interest or less inclination to collaborate on these sorts of things. But out here, the landscape is so profound and so powerful, and it dominates everybody's sense of things. We're, I think, much more attuned to it. I think perhaps just being in a rural as opposed to an urban environment changes the balance of our perspective about things.
It's just ask a lot of questions. I think we just ask a lot of questions and then we listen for the answers and not go in and say, you know, here's the way to do it. And I think just being in a receptive mode and listening a lot, do a lot of public meetings if we can, and just not to go and say our piece, but to be there and to get to talk to people in an informal setting. And we've gotten to know so many people that way.
Your starting point is to get as much information as you possibly can. Talk to as many folks as you possibly can. And if you know, I would say to people that are beginning the process, they can talk to folks who've been through it. Say, you know, and find out what their experiences have been, where it led. And I think by and large they'll get good feedback and feel that it's something that it makes sense for them to do.
We just need to take care of the land and take care of the forest. And to me, that's not just standing back and looking at it, but being active and manage it and sustain it, you know.
It's a challenge, and it's really engaging to talk to other people and get other opinions about what we need to do and what the forest used to look like.
Also, you have to think about the grizzly bears and the coyotes and now even the wolves, you know.
There are lots of things that brought you out here. The pristineness of it, the rawness of it, unique place of this, what we call the state of Montana, the last best place. I would just hope that people, as they move here, would not try and then change it into what from whence they came, and accept the really unique beauty of this place. I've started to think of the land like that. I've started to think of it, it's not ever going to stay the way it was, because nature is change and profound change. And I think just to bear witness to the profundity of the change, and then try not to be such humans, which is to put it back the way we know it. Often it's nature doing its very best and making it change and living somehow compatibly with great change. That was my hope, that our kids do that, and then their children learn to live with the change that is happening in nature, not so much by us.